everybody. Welcome to another episode of Steven and Susan. This is Mom and Pop Productions. We're going out today to do some inspections in the exciting world of field services. This is the default mortgage industry, and what we primarily do is we go out for the lenders and take photos of the properties. Sometimes we have to make contact with the clients. What we're primarily trying to determine today as we go to each one of these properties that we're going to do, we want to look for the three big items. The three big items, you hear us talk about this all the time: vacancy, violations, and damages. Those are the three most important things, at least from a liability standpoint, on your end if you decide to become a property inspector. You want to make sure that all three of those items, there's 100% quality control on those. And what I mean by that is if you go to a house and the house is vacant, you got to mark it down as vacant. You have to enter it into the system as vacant. And all these terms and things that we're going over right now, we're going to go into more detail throughout these videos. I call this my SCORE program. SCORE stands for Subcontractor Operational Readiness Education. Okay, so what we're going to do is, as a subcontractor in the field inspection business, you'll be taking work from someone like myself who has other clients that send us business from their clients, which are the banks. Now, the banks have this unbelievable inventory of properties that they need for us to inspect on a regular basis. Sometimes it's every 30 days, sometimes it might be 60 days, 90 days, whatever. Everything is based upon your coverage area, which we normally break down in the state of Pennsylvania into counties. And in those counties, we have zip codes. So you're all familiar with how the post office works. If you live in a particular area, the zip code makes sure that the mail gets routed to you. Just think of it that way. When you accept work from us, you'll want to sign up for different zip codes and then take those zip codes, and when the work orders come in, you're going to build yourself a little map on Google Maps or whatever mapping software you want to do, and try to make yourself a little route that you can cover all your territory for your inspections. So that's kind of what we've done already. We have our clipboard with all our inspections that we're going to do today. The first one, we're going to head down and take a look at that. I'm going to actually take you through the basic process of what we do when we go to inspect a property. So when you decide that you want to take work, some of the things you want to take into consideration is it's very, very difficult for you to just say, oh, well, I only want to do, for example, the city of Philadelphia, because I know there'll be X number of thousands of inspections in a month, and that's all I feel like doing, and that's all I'm going to do. Well, it doesn't work that way. In particular counties, you have rural areas and you're going to have urban areas. So by taking on a county, you're going to allow us to be able to take more work from our clients. And sometimes, yes, you'll have to drive 15, 20 minutes or so, maybe just to do one inspection, but then you'll make up for that on another day or later on in that day when you can get into an urban area and knock out 30 or 40 at a time. So basically, that's how we set this process up. As I said, right now we're just traveling, going to our first inspection. As we go through this in these instructional series, we're going to basically highlight different topics. For example, the types of inspections that you're going to do. For most of our vendors, there's three basic types of inspections. There's what we call just a property inspection. Sometimes with a property inspection, all you have to do is simply take a picture of the property, try to determine if it's vacant or occupied. Along those lines, you'll see something come up that'll say maybe bankruptcy, and that'll be at the top of the form. Remember, if you're working with us and we're primarily dealing within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, if a bankruptcy inspection comes up, you may not get out of your vehicle and go on the property. Okay, so you have to take a photo from the best angle possible. We're going to cover taking pictures and things like that as we go along with this process. But in a bankruptcy, under no circumstances are you allowed to make any contact either with the customer or getting out of your vehicle and being on their property. So that's pretty much with a property inspection. That'll normally be a bankruptcy inspection. The second type of inspection is going to be an occupancy inspection. Now, an occupancy inspection, there's different ways that I've had it explained to me to go ahead and do these types of inspections. The way I like to do it is I get out of the vehicle, I try to make contact with the person to try to determine whether or not the property is occupied, because the only way that you're going to have 100% certainty that a property is occupied is if you actually get out and talk to somebody. So if you're uncomfortable in doing that, what I recommend is for the first 30 days or so when you're doing your inspections, if an occupancy inspection comes up, go to the property, take your picture, look it over, try to determine, and there's different clues that you're going to be looking for, which we'll go over as we cover each inspection type. And then as you get more comfortable in the process, then you'll be able to get out and have the confidence to go to the door, and I have a specific rap or routine or thing that I say to everybody that allows them to be comfortable with me and that I'm not intruding on their privacy. And that's another big issue which we'll talk about later on, is privacy. So we have our two types. We have our property inspection, we have our occupancy inspection. Now the third type of inspection is an occupancy where they want you to put a door card on the door. This is nothing more than a little note that'll be at the bottom of your signing sheets that you receive for your zip code coverage area. You cut it off, you put it in a door hanger envelope, which you'll see as we do this, and it'll be one of those things where this one they'll actually want you to knock on the door and try to make contact with the customer, okay? So if you're not able to make contact with a customer, then what you're going to do is you're going to put the door card on the door, take a photo of that, and then for that particular inspection, if you don't actually hand it to somebody, you'll want to have a minimum of 2 photos. Now the property inspection, as long as it's not a vacancy, you can get away with 1 photo. The occupancy inspection, as long as it's not a vacancy, you can get away with 1 photo. The door card inspection, however, for us here at Mom and Pop Enterprises, we're going to require that you do 2 photos, okay? 1 of the front of the property, and if you can't make contact with a customer, you're going to take a photo of the door or the front of the house that's going to show the door card hanging on the door. Why? Because the client is paying a little bit more for that service to have the door card put up. Therefore, we have to justify that extra fee that's being charged back to the customer, so that if they want a door card inspection done, we want to show them that yes, we actually hung that door card on their door. At this point now, pretty much we're going to stop with this particular video, and once we get to the first property, that'll be the second video in the series, and I'm going to take you through. I think the first one that we're doing is simply a property inspection, so this one won't be too difficult, and I'm just going to show you the basic way of how I approach all this. Okay, thanks so much, and we'll see you in a little bit.